Victor, glad that you're getting to share with the community. Will you give a quick kind of introduction of who you are and how you help entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so my name is Victor Pierantoni. I am a peak performance coach. I help professionals and entrepreneurs eliminate anxiety, burnout, and self-sabotage, replacing it with unshakable inner peace and confidence. That way you're able to make more money, but also enjoy the process of working in your business and learn along the way. Learn the key wisdom and lessons that you'll need to do better, not just in your business, but also in your personal life. So I like to look at things as a more holistic system. So as a peak performance coach, one thing that you and I were chatting offline here is that I like to look at business like a sport, right? The industry that you're in is the specific sport that you're in. The field is the actual business that you have. And then the ball is the attention of your customers. And there's all kinds of cool tactics and strategies that one can learn to get better at all these aspects of the game of your business. Where I specialize in is helping how you play off the field of your business so that every time you show up invigorated, you show up fulfilled and energized, able to drive home the results that you've set out for.
That's great. Yeah. And so maybe even extending that metaphor, you're kind of like, you're helping us with our business nutrition. Yes. And our business recovery and all those good things, our business training in a sense.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I like it. All right, well, let's dive in and kind of walk through some of these different stages here. So the first stage in our framework is the existential stage, which is really where you're just trying to kind of ask like those questions of like, okay, who am I trying to serve? How am I helping them? Why do I want to do this? Like, so you're really, it's like, what business exists here? So it's very formative. You're not even really trying to sell anything at this point, but you're like, do I have a business? What do I want to do? So when someone's in that space, what are some of the questions that maybe you'd want them to be considering, or maybe some pitfalls that you'd want them to be aware of when it comes to peak performance and mindset as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so at the existential stage, I think this is a really important topic to discuss because at this stage, somebody might know that they want to be an entrepreneur. They may want to do it for the freedom. And one of the first things I tell people at this stage is if you're getting into business to escape the 9-to-5, you need to realize that at the existential stage, you're trading the 9-to-5 for the 24/7. It's not necessarily like that's not a good trade for it. So I think what's really important is not to focus on the fact that like, oh, I want to start my own business, but really like what invigorates me, what creates a natural enthusiasm and a passion, and who do I want to help with that? So what I really love asking people at this stage is like, what are the things, like if they don't know at all what they want that business to be, like, let's say they're like 0, they're just like, I know I want to start one, but I'm not sure what that is yet. I usually like to help people reflect on first, what creates natural curiosity in you. If you can start asking what actually intrigues me on a natural basis, then you can start figuring out what you'd be good at or what you'd have fun actually pursuing. It's really important at this stage to do something that you like and that you actually find fun. As silly as that sounds for business, like we do need to have fun in our businesses to keep us going. Like play is a human need. So asking yourself what actually inspires a genuine curiosity in me, like making a list of that. And then when you have a list of curiosities, you'll start noticing themes, like 3 or 4 will relate to the same thing. And then you'll start noticing, okay, like there's these like three themes, 3 to 5 themes that I'm noticing on my list here. Those are the things that you're passionate about. That's where your curiosities are intersecting. And when you are able to find those intersections, those passions that you have, that's where you can really start to get that inner drive going. Now, passion by itself is not enough because then you're, just going to go and throw stuff at the wall and see what works. But you want to meet that passion with purpose. So the way that I like to do this for my clients is I'll have them write down another list, which is, what are the problems you see in the world that really tug at your heartstrings? Like what problems bother you? And there's like an infinite amount of problems, being a human and 8 billion people all over the world. There's all kinds of problems that can be solved. And being in business is not about solving every problem, but solving the ones that you feel compelled to solve. So what problems actually grab my attention? And then do the same thing, just like you did with the curiosities. What are the common themes of these problems? That's when you can take the problems of the world and what people need and then turn that into purpose. So when you marry the passion and the purpose, Now you have energy. Now you're like, okay, this is my mission. This is who I want to help. And this is the thing that really drives me. So I like to call that the practical step-by-step approach to following your heart, which I think is super important at the existential stage of business.
No, I love that. I love that finding that combination of like problems you want to solve, but also what feels like play. Like I've definitely experienced that when there's things where I'm like, oh man, I don't want to tell anyone, but I would almost do this part for free because it's just so much fun, you know. But then that leads to that passion and that purpose. One question I would have, I see sometimes in this really early existential phase, entrepreneurs will hear about something someone else is doing, and so you kind of get this shiny object like thing going on. It's like, oh, they started a business and they were really, I want to do the same thing they did, and it may not actually match their design, their what's like really would fit them, but they really want the outcome maybe that they saw someone else having. Is any insight or recommendation on helping someone maybe even self-identify that they've kind of like projected someone else's like plan and passion and purpose onto themselves that is not going to be a great feel if they go down that road without recognizing that?
That's a phenomenal question. I like that you asked that because that happens all the time at this stage. And I think the best thing to do is like, if you haven't done this exercise that we were just talking about, like writing down curiosities, finding the intersections where the passions are, and then writing down the problems and finding the purpose and bridging those together. That would be the foundational exercise. But if you haven't done that, I think a good self-reflective question with the shiny, or to suss out any shiny object syndrome that might be coming up, is like, okay, why do I want to do that?
No, that's a good,
very simple question. And if the answer to your why is because it's all result, outcome, because I want to make the money that guy has, I want to drive the same car he has. Like, no. If the why is oriented around because I really want to help people like that, but I have my own way of doing it. Like I have a cool angle that I can help people similar to that business that I'd like to do. And if that's your answer, then you're on the right track. Because outcomes alone are not going to keep you going when things get tough. It's the love of the process that will.
That's a good word. I like that. That's really insightful, Victor. Okay, so that's good. That we kind of framed out the existential there. Okay, so since we've kind of now actually walked through all the stages, is there any sort of, I mean, you kind of did this a little bit just now in talking about the events, but just thinking about kind of looking at that whole journey, any overarching themes that you want to call out, or any encouragements that you'd want to give to entrepreneurs who are kind of anywhere along that journey, but just kind of looking at it as a whole?
I think some of the most important themes, like from what we've spoken about, is knowing how to manage your energy. And you manage your energy with your choices, what you choose to engage in versus not engage in, and the activities that you do, right? So energy management, I think, is one of the most important things. And when I say energy, I mean, does whatever you're doing create a natural enthusiasm? Does it make you want to think bigger? Does it make you want to serve more? That's when you know something is energizing, because you have this abundance to give and you want to help people and you want to do more of the things that you're doing. So energy management, I think, is one of the number one things. The other thing too is be a student of your results, not your ideals. Be a student of what the market is telling you, right? If you're so attached to your ideals that you won't listen to your customer, then you're in love with your product. You're not in love with your customer. And you want to be in love with your customer and be able to fulfill those needs and really delight them and dazzle them. So I think that's a really important thing. And, understand what it is that you're here to do. And you can find what that is by doing that exercise that we talked about, going through your curiosities, finding the intersections, which are your passions, going through the problems that you see in the world, and then the ones and the themes in there, that's going to be purpose. Bringing those together, bringing what are your top strengths that have allowed you to achieve biggest things in your life. And then what is the wisdom that has guided you along the way that has made things possible for you to overcome some of the most difficult things. And when you bring those all together, you have your own personal purpose, your own reason for being. And if you use that as your decision-making filter, you will always be able to cut through the noise. You'll know who you are, and you'll know when something is an opportunity versus a distraction.
I love that. No, that is really good because there's there's a lot to navigate in that journey. And so those are some really helpful guiding principles there. So, well, cool. Here, as we kind of recap, just some fun facts. Okay, most impactful book that you've read in the past year.
Oh my goodness. Most
or
impactful
an impactful book. Maybe it doesn't have to be the premier impactful.
So I would say the most impactful book, and I studied this thing for months, was The Tao of Solomon is what it's called. So it is a book that is a reimagining of Ecclesiastes and written by a rabbi named Rami Shapiro. And this rabbi also studied a lot of Zen. He studied a lot of Taoism. So he weaves in all this perennial wisdom from different different religious faiths and different schools of thought. Mm-hmm. And he uses Ecclesiastes as this tool for helping bring together these very important truths, which are the truth of impermanence, and how no matter how hard you work and how much money you make, you're never going to buy your way out of impermanence. And so you treat impermanence with a reverence and realize that everything is meaningful because it's not going to last forever. The relationships I have, the people I get to serve, the beauty and the joy in my life, I'm going to enjoy it while it's here. And rather than, one of the lines in there is better to have, one hand empty and full of joy than two hands full of toil. It's enjoy what you're doing. Yes, earn your stuff, get successful, but don't do it at the cost of your heart and your soul. So that was the most impactful book for me. And it just completely changed the way I thought about business, the way I thought about money, and the way I thought about just being able to enjoy my life and enjoy the present moments with the people I love.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. Any just kind of, if you could tell an entrepreneur kind of one thing when it comes to mindset and performance, what would that be?
One thing.
Just
if you remember nothing else from this interview, remember this: start your day with what is most meaningful. If that is all you do, it will change and shape your day in a very profound way that leaves you feeling empowered and getting things done at the same time. You're going to feel empowered, enthusiastic, and productive by just doing that. Just starting your day with 30 to 120 minutes of the most meaningful thing that you can think of for your life in this.
I love that. That's really good. Well, I appreciate, Victor. It really does come through that you have both spent a large amount of time considering and forming your insight and your understanding, but also that pairs with your desire to really see people thrive. And so appreciate you taking the time to share that with our audience, with people who are at all these different kind of stages of business and trying to grow and trying to, both grow their business, but also hopefully grow their impact, which is something, what we've been talking about here. So really appreciate you sharing. I'm glad to be able to bring this to the community.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to get to do this interview.